Highly anticipated testimony this week as former President Bill Clinton and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton face the House Oversight Committee in the Jeffrey Epstein investigation. The Clintons' depositions will take place behind closed doors at their home in Chappaqua, New York. It will be filmed and transcribed. Both have denied any wrongdoing. And here's what an Oversight Committee Democrat said on MS Now today about Bill Clinton's testimony.
He did fly on Epstein's plane. And the question that I have for everyone in that category is, first, were you involved? And second, did you see and hear things that should have led you to know that Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell were committing these horrific crimes? He's provided a sworn statement saying that's not the case, but I think it's important that we question him to determine that so we can rule it out.
Joining me now is Virginia Congressman Suhas Subramanian. He serves on the House Oversight, Ethics, and Science, Space, and Technology Committees. Congressman, welcome back to the show. It's good to see you again. So Hillary Clinton will meet with the committee members Thursday, Bill Clinton a day later. What do you expect to hear from them? And how can Democrats ensure this doesn't devolve into some kind of a rerun of all the scandals Republicans have accused the Clintons of over the years?
Well, remember, President Trump wants to make this investigation about Democrats. He said that. And I think we're going to ask them the same questions we would ask anyone else, which is, what did you know about Epstein's crimes and his network? What did you know about Maxwell? Were you engaged or involved in any of them? Did you know when you were associating with them that these crimes were happening? So those are the questions we're asking everyone, and we're going to ask them again. I don't really know if Hillary Clinton has much to offer us. Part of the reason I think she was named is because she was a political enemy of President Trump. But we wanted to make this a bipartisan investigation, so we will ask her the same questions.
So the Clintons are testifying, though, after the Oversight Committee threatened to hold them in contempt for defying subpoenas. If Democrats retake power in Congress, will they put the same pressure on President Trump with subpoenas and potential investigations when he's a private citizen?
Well, Republicans have certainly opened that door, right? Remember, the Clintons are the only ones that have voted in our committee to hold in criminal contempt. And we actually tried to hold Pam Bondi in contempt because she is breaking the law. And yet, they focused on the Clintons for criminal contempt. Criminal contempt means that you go to jail. They're going to pass along this prosecution to the DOJ, who will absolutely target the Clintons. And so it's completely unwarranted to do that when the Clintons were in good faith trying to figure out a way to come testify before a committee. And so we are where we are now. We're going to talk to them. We're going to hear what they have to say. But moving forward, they've used this blunt tool just on the Clintons, just on Democrats. I'd like to see it used on everyone if it applies to them.
I know that you, sir, and Congressman Jamie Raskin are bringing the brother and sister of the late Virginia Giuffre as your guest to the State of the Union address Tuesday. Giuffre, of course, a survivor of Epstein's trafficking ring and was instrumental in bringing his crimes to light. What message are you sending to the president and the public having her family there?
I want the president to look the victims and their families in the eyes and say that this investigation is over and that there's nothing more to see, because that's what he's been saying. He has yet to issue an apology to them. Pam Bondi has yet to issue an apology to the victims and their families. So I really want the families to be there while the president talks about this, if he talks about this at all, because it's a reminder of promises made, promises not kept. It's a reminder of how he has covered up and continued cover-ups of people who did terrible things. And so we want them to be there for this engagement and to send a message to the president that this investigation is not over.
I know, sir, that you have viewed the unredacted Epstein files. What did you learn? Did it indicate the administration is making an effort of transparency and complying with the law that was passed by Congress?
Far from it. The administration continued its cover-up even when we tried to find unredacted versions of the files they released. Remember, they haven't released about 2.5 million files, but when I went to view the files at the DOJ, there was 4 computers for 435 members of Congress. Many of the files I was looking for were still redacted, and the files that I did find that were unredacted were redacting information of people who were not victims. In fact, there was one email that was redacted that was all about Donald Trump. It had nothing to do with victims. It just made Donald Trump look bad and contradicted statements he's made in the past. So this DOJ continues to cover up, continues to not be transparent with us and the American on that.
So this week, Leslie Wexner, the billionaire former CEO of Victoria's Secret who helped Epstein build his wealth, testified before the Oversight Committee. Wexner denied any knowledge of Epstein's crimes, despite being named repeatedly by survivors in the files. How credible was his testimony?
I didn't find his testimony credible at all. He said that despite giving Epstein hundreds of millions of dollars over the years and letting him manage his billions, he didn't really have much of a relationship with Epstein, seemed to forget a lot of things about his relationship with Epstein. His testimony is contradicted by victims. His testimony is contradicted by evidence that we have. And so we're going to continue to look for more files, look for more data, look for more evidence, because a lot of the people we've talked to tell us stories or have terrible memories when it comes to Jeffrey Epstein, conveniently. So that's why we continue to try to push for documents, evidence, and files, because a lot of the people who talk to us are not being forthcoming with us.
Representative Suhas Subramanian, thank you so much. It's good to see you, sir.